right. So there I was on a stage much like this one, in a coffee house in the student center of Ohio University, blinding lights, room full of people, and I was going to come out to my community for the first time, wearing nothing but yellow caution tape, strategically placed just so, and maybe across my arm. What I was going to do was perform in a Lady Gaga lip sync contest. So it was Pride Month, and some friends were like, hey, we need performers. I'm an engineer, so I'm not really a performer. I was terrified, but with enough liquid courage and a good friend who helped me assemble myself, I got up there and I was going to have a good time. So for those of you who are not familiar, the music video for Telephone features Lady Gaga and Beyonce is breaking Lady Gaga out of jail. And the signature look that Lady Gaga has is she's just wearing caution tape, and she has some cigarette sunglasses, and that's about it. So I wanted to do it upright, because if I'm gonna come out to my community, by God, I'm gonna commit to this. So as scared as I was, I got up there, the music came on. I had choreographed a little bit, mostly trying to mimic the music video, and I had fun. In the crowd, they had a great time, and my look was great at least. And then the MC came up, and he was like, "Okay, last call. Anyone else want to come and perform? Anyone else? Anyone else?" And then this punk ass gets up there, wearing street clothes, just waltzed in, I guess. And what damn song does he pick? Telephone. That was the only song to repeat that night. And so my first instinct, of course, was like, this bitch. What are you doing? So he gets up there, and I guess he must have been like a dancer or something, because as soon as the music went on, he's spinning, and he's falling into the audience. He did a shablam, everyone's screaming. So of course he won. I did not even place. I did get the Balls Out Award, so that's something, I guess. And so I felt like I had done a good job. I was very proud of myself. I was like, all right, happy Pride Month. Let's continue the drinking. And as I was walking out, I felt a tap on my shoulder, and I looked back, and it's that punk ass. And he had ripped a piece of his award off, and it said Steven, and it had his phone number on it. And lucky for him, I'm attracted to winners. So I said, all right, we can go on a date. So we started dating. And I came to find out that he was actually a dancer. So he was a dance major, I was an engineering major. Very unlikely duo, but it was working, we were having fun. And one day, so for those of you who are not familiar with Ohio University, university down in Athens, Ohio, it's beautiful, there's giant trees everywhere. In the center of that is a place called College Green, and basically it's like the central point. So it's where the university meets the town, so everyone's crossing everywhere, lots of people, whatever. We were walking through that, I don't remember what we were doing, probably gonna go get ice cream or something. And I go to grab his hand, and he recoiled. Now up to this point, I mean not to be that guy, but no one ever said no to holding my hand. So I was a little offended, and I was like, whoa, babe, what's up? But then I realized when I looked at him that this was more than not attracted or whatever, not into it. This was anxiety. And I was like, whoa, I'm sorry, what's going on? And very quietly he said, well, I've never held anyone's hand before, not in public. And it hit me, and I was like, oh shit, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to just assume. Up until that point, I was a little wild in college, so I was dating boys and girls, and so I was just doing whatever I wanted all the time. And so it never had really affected me that much, and so I was like, okay, well, I get it. It is scary, and there was a lot of people around, so I took both of his hands, and we huddled up, and I was like, it's okay. We're just holding hands. This is our university, this is our town. It'll be fine. And he mustered himself and grabbed his hand. We walked all the way across College Green, and the world did not end, which was a blessing. And so from that point forward, things were getting a little bit more serious. I was training up real well. He was holding my hand all the time now. And as things were getting more serious, he's like, you know what? It would be really meaningful to me if you could come see me perform. Again, he's a dancer. And he is a modern dancer. And so I was like, all right, sure. I don't know what that means. I've seen the Nutcracker when I was a little kid. I've seen ballet, I know that. But I don't know what modern is, but I'm down, let's do it. So there I am sitting in the audience. It's a packed house. I'm not sure what I'm gonna see. And then the curtains part. And there's Stephen wearing nothing but basically underwear under the bright lights. And he starts performing, but it's not performing. It's his soul dancing in the space. I had never seen someone so confident, so beautiful, so natural in their sincere expression. And I was stunned. I think the performance probably lasted like 8 minutes or something, but in my mind's eye, that was like days of just like, why can't my body do that? This is so beautiful, I don't want this to end. And it was actually that day that it was my Stephen. So that was my Stephen up there. I was so proud to see such a fearless spirit in front of all these people, just being his most authentic self. I was terrified just to do that Lady Gaga lip sync contest, and here he is doing this all the time, performing all the time up there. So that was a big day for us, and things were getting more serious. Again, we were holding hands, we were walking each other to class. And on one particular day, we were walking to class. It was actually very similar to today. It was beautiful, blue skies, white clouds. And again, if you're not familiar with OU, that town was not meant for like 40,000 people. So the roads are very narrow, everything is crowded because people are trying to get to class. So we're like salmon going upstream. We're like walking against the crowd, trying to get him to class. And we're right next to the road. Cars are whizzing by. And I don't even remember what we were talking about, but all of a sudden, one car whizzes by, and all we hear is, faggots! Again, that probably was 30 seconds of my life. That was an eternity. So it's one thing to intentionally go up on stage half naked, but it's something completely else to be undressed by a complete stranger with such careless hate for such a simple act. We were just holding hands. And I know that far worse has been committed to people like us, but this was the first time that we had experienced this together. We were stunned. My heart was racing. I could feel he had an iron grip on my hand. We didn't know what to do. What do you do? They were gone, they whizzed by. So I looked at him, and in his eyes I saw just a reflection of everything I was feeling. Fear, sorrow, but also an anger. How dare you? How dare you undress us like that? Or to see my Stephen, that fearless soul, shaken, his eyes wet and warm, not wanting to show everyone, and there was a lot of people around, our vulnerability. But again, I took his hand, took his other hand. We took a moment, we huddled up. And I didn't know what to say, so I said, it's okay. This is us. This is our home. And if the world's not ready for us, we'll build one of our own. So let's get you to class. And so I held his hand, and I held his hand all the way to class. And I've never stopped holding that hand. I held that hand down the aisle. I held that hand across the threshold of our home in South Park. I held his hand today as we were walking here. And so now I find myself on this stage again, exposing myself to the public. But I think, where would I be now if I wasn't willing to be vulnerable, to be open, to be proud? What opportunities would I have missed if I wasn't willing to to be vulnerable, even though I know that there's so much in the world that's ready to hurt or to bring you down or to make you shamed. So be vulnerable, be open, be proud. Thank you.